光明villagers come to Taiwan to give their donations to Master Jin Yan personally to show their eternal gratitude. A hospice nurse father becomes a silent mentor after passing away, and the spirit is the last gift he left for. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Maggie Tai. Thank you for joining us. Next month is the 10th year since the Wenchuan earthquake took place in Sichuan, China. The activity has led to a special connection formed by love as Hualien Jing's abode recently received a special donation from the Guangming villagers to support the Hualien earthquake. Villagers told Master Jin Yan that Taiwan's help is something they will never forget. Sichuan Zhongjiang County's Guangming Village is hosting a fundraiser for the Hualien earthquake in February in hope that they can do something to help.
If a place suffers from disaster, everyone should help. We are very thankful that Taiwan people have helped us to go through the disaster time.
Now it's our time to do our best to help them.
Guangming Village is the first DaAi village Tzu built in Sichuan. It has become the new home for the 91 affected households. After 10 years, everything is different now. The morning in the spring, the fog surrounds the green mountain while the houses have white walls and red brick roofs. Many villagers have paved the silicone road and connected electricity and water pipes, as well as cable TV to their houses.
Now everyone lives a comfortable life. Many people don't want to go to other places to work. I also came back, and I have the second baby now.
Now I can live in this beautiful home. I will never forget the help from Taiwanese people for the rest of my life.
This connection has been 10 years, and it shows the love between Taiwan and China, even during the disastrous time. The whole village raised funds to donate for the Hualien earthquake in February, and by April, 100,000 renminbi has been sent to Hualien from entire Zhongjiang County.
We are very grateful for our Tzu, so today we DaAi villagers are here to give our deep gratitude personally.
This blessing has built an invisible bridge of love and gratitude between Sichuan and Taiwan. In September last year, a massive earthquake struck Mexico, and Tzu continues to provide assistance to the affected residents. After volunteers held a free clinic in Hohula last December, they recently came to this area once again to provide medical services.
We've been here December and before for the earthquake. After we have done all the distribution, we ask volunteer here. I say, now you are family, you are Tzu family. Tell us what you need the most. You know what they answer? They say medical service. So we have altogether 1 week, 7 days service. The first with Hohutala.
Indeed, after the earthquake, it is very important to have assistance programs to help and to ensure all the people have access to health care.
Martin told us we'll come back. We will come back because we want to keep helping. He honored his promise. Actually, Tzu's assistance after the earthquake is something that will uplift our spirit very much.
Tzu volunteers always keep their promises. Hence, they come back to Mexico's Hohula to host free medical outreach. To repay Tzu's love, this time many local residents volunteers to help out.
Today we are here to unload all the medicine boxes that we had kept in hold since December. So now that we are going to have the medical outreach here in Hohula, we brought all the necessary equipment to make it happen. Many thanks to Tzu Chi Foundation because they kept track on everyone that was affected by the earthquake.
Here is the venue where the medical service is going to be. So tomorrow we're going to have, I hope at least we can serve 600 and more patients here.
Tzu Chi came to transform and change our life. Tzu Chi gave us hope, and they still do it. They made us feel as if we're siblings.
We have achieved the goal of inspiring people locally, and we're looking forward to see more and more people join this program.
We have been working very hard to spread the messages and to make people understand that Tzu Chi will come back and they are going to stay in Mexico.
Today, I'm here to train the general volunteer for orientation for tomorrow, the next 2 days. The idea of this trip that we come this time is to train local volunteers to slowly take over and manage the medical outreach.
They recognize us. They say they see Tzu Chi are really doing something to help their people. So they were so surprised and so happy learning we're coming back. So, and we commit, we will keep coming back at least 3-4 times a year. Beautiful.
In Southeast Australia, the seaside town of Tathra suffered a wildfire in mid-March this year, which has burned down nearly 130 buildings and caused 300 people evacuated. Tzu Chi volunteers got in touch with the Tathra community group and drove all the way from Sydney for 6 hours to assess the disaster. Blue ocean water can be seen at this Australian seaside town of Tathra. A month ago, a forest fire destroyed the tranquility of this area and burned down nearly 130 houses, forcing 300 people to be evacuated. Tzu Chi volunteers and Tzu Chins formed a 7-person disaster team and drive all the way down from Sydney. It takes them 12 hours round trip. With the Tathra community group formed by local residents after the fire, they began their disaster assessment work. The mountaintop where the fire started has no sign of life now. The fire occurred while the wind was strong and the wind direction kept changing.
That house there was absolutely destroyed and I was here and it took 15 minutes.
This old lady, friend Elliot, who's lived here for 17 years, is still trembling as she speaks, as she is still shocked about the fire damage.
But when I look at this, I can't believe the damage. It's like a bomb's gone off. Like in some areas, it's just like shredded paper. But
local firefighters and volunteer firemen started their rescue mission right away. Volunteers came to relieve them from their exhaustive work.
For 6-7 days, the Rural Fire Service, the New South Wales Fire and Rescue, all the emergency services were headquartered here.
Local elementary students draw posters to thank the firefighters for their efforts to stop the fire on campus. Tzu Chi is also planning to host a disaster relief distribution to help affected residents in need after the evacuation. The 2018 National Disaster Relief Drill took place in Chaozhou, Pingdong this year. The theme this year focused on earthquake and typhoon disaster simulation. Pingdong government invites Tzu Chi to share the expertise on disaster relief. Tzu Chi volunteers drove the mobile kitchen to demonstrate how to provide hot foods in disaster area, and you will be amazed how the little truck can provide so much.
Simulation of a 7.3 magnitude earthquake happening in Chaozhou, Pingdong. 2018 National Disaster Relief Drill took place in Chaozhou, Pingdong this year. It really is a complete realistic simulation of what a natural disaster could look like, with houses crumbling and bridges crashing down. The drill brought together all levels of government and organizations, which really highlighted how important Tzu Chi's role is when actual disasters happen. In any disaster zone, Tzu Chi's mobile kitchen can provide up to 900 meals within a 3-hour period.
The food truck that was on site was absolutely phenomenal. Each organization had their own themes going on, and it was just amazing how a little truck can do so much for the people. So it really shows that during disaster relief, how crucial it is to just have some aid and basic necessities provided at the right time.
Whenever disasters strike, we always see Tzu Chi volunteers at the first line of defense. They have so much compassion for humanity that they are willing to do all they can to both provide actual basic materials that are needed and their willingness to comfort the victims involved. This is what makes Tzu Chi Foundation such a special entity of Taiwanese NGOs.
Natural disaster is unavoidable, so that is why Tzu Chi Foundation works so hard through simulation camps and/or experiencing sharing to help the population in preparation for any future disasters that strikes.
Medical professionals have to face death every day, but it's not so easy when one faces the death of his or her own family member. The nurse at Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital's hospice ward, Yang Zhiling, helped her father fulfill his wish of becoming a silent mentor despite her sadness. Her father's dedication has taught her to treat patients as her own family, and this is the last gift that her father gave her.
恭迎母语良师。
I want to share everything I did the whole day with my dad, such as the experiences and the encounters of my work. My father also passed away in a hospice ward. In fact, I read a lot of books that taught me how to face death. Sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I want to cry.
想哭，还可以借我卫生纸吗？在这边吗？然后自己拿。好。
Yeah, I feel like something is missing in my life, so I want to find the answers. I'm writing a diary. It's like I'm talking to my dad and sharing everything I did that day with him.
今天一整天的整个过程。
In fact, I didn't have any idea how to face death. It wasn't until my dad fell ill did I start to really reflect and face the issue of death. After my dad passed away, I worried that my mother would have a hard time letting go of my father's passing when she stayed at home alone with all the familiar items in the house. During the process, when we donated my dad's body, or even after this, many Tzu Chi volunteers and Dhamma masters came to help us as if we had known each other before. Their love and care have comforted us and healed the wounds of my family.
想跟你说，谢谢你，谢谢你用生命深刻地教导女儿，教导她在对待病患时能够视病由亲。 在每个过程中，能够有力量地帮助他们。
Last year, the Council of Agriculture revised the Hillside Development Act, which was protested by a number of environmental groups. The controversy is about payment for a protection and reforestation fund, which is assets to companies seeking to develop hillside areas. Some believe that such development should be prohibited, while others believe that the amount charged is not enough, noting the charge is only for the size of a building and not the total area affected.
This is Geelong, where many apartments are built in the mountains. The tranquility of the area has been disrupted by controversy. At the heart of the controversy is an amendment last year supported by the Council of Agriculture to a Hillside Development Protection Fund. The change has effectively reduced the amount paid for hillside development for those building residential units or factories.
First, we will decouple the soil and water conservation plan for the area, and then not just focus on the protection fund. And third, we hope the bidding method will be directly related to the actual development area.
What exactly is the Hillside Development Fund? This is a fee assessed when hillside land is used for housing, industry, or farmhouses. In other words, when development affects a hillside or slope, funds must be paid to a government reforestation fund.
In 1996, Typhoon Herb led to serious disasters in the Adisan area. We use this as an incentive to encourage us to carry out reforestation. However, such efforts need to be funded. We said let's collect a hillside development fund for this purpose.
The old Hillside Protection Fund was 6 to 12% of the present land value of the land calculated based on the entire area. For example, on a 10-hectare farm, the total area covered is 10 hectares, regardless if the farmhouse covers just 1 hectare. Also, if the building needs to be expanded or rebuilt, as long as the soil and water conservation plan is proposed, the same amount must be paid once again.
Having to do another soil and water conservation plan after doing improvements or new construction, and having to pay into this hillside protection fund again has upset many businesses as they believe they are paying twice.
The new Hillside Protection Fund is only based upon the actual area used and will only be assessed one time, with subsequent construction no longer charged. As a result, developers can pay less, but the controversy continues.
Our current hillside protection fund this year has seen an obvious decrease. My personal opinion is that it is indeed encouraging development through this action.
8 years ago, on National Highway Number 3 at Geelong's Chidu section, there was a landslide. While it was a government development project, an investigation into the cause found that a newly started development in the area may have led to this problem with this steep slope.
This area here is a deep slope, which doesn't necessarily mean a disaster could occur, but it is special terrain that can easily be affected. For this development, this slope saw the base being excavated, which led to this type of condition. This means that there is no support at the base for this area.
Imagine trying to dig down to the bedrock below and leaving the house exposed to soft footing and issues with embankments. According to Geological Survey data, these are the yellow areas on the map, which are sensitive areas in Geelong, with 17.5% being hillsides. Although it does not mean that the development is prohibited, development should be done with special care. On the one hand, there's economic development, while on the other, there's concern for the environment. After the Geelong City government announced the Hillside Protection Fund, there's immediate resistance from the 45-year-old Dawu Lun industrial zone.
For some companies who want to do legal development, they need to apply for a building permit. For example, just building a 10 square meter guard room, one needs to pay about $5,000. But you would have to pay about $30,000 for this hillside protection fund, so no one will do it. These industrial zones are all quite old now, and if we don't do any upgrades or transfer into new industries, then it will be very difficult for us to attract good staff.
These industrial zones located in the hillside areas need to be upgraded, though they face the threat of going through another review process and paying more in hillside protection funds. However, if they don't go through this process, they pose even more of a risk to the safety of our country, creating a difficult problem which needs resolution.
In Jianghua Fangyuan Township, a shelter workshop hosted job training recently to help disabled people to cultivate a skill for a living. Among them is instructor Wang Mingde, who is not only an expert on coffee, he's also talented at wheelchair dancing and has even founded a dance team. Let's see how they shine bright on the dance floor internationally. Wang Mingde, who is a poliomyelitis patient, is also an expert on coffee. He works at the Joyce Agape Shelter Workshop, where it was recently commissioned by the Ministry of Labor and the county government to host job trainings for disabled people, and he is one of the instructors.
What's the amount of your coffee powder? It's 20 grams. It's 85 degrees Celsius. What I always do is to make it flat.
He teaches selflessly because he wants to encourage the jobless disabled students not to give up their life, as chances are for people who are well prepared.
A person should learn more skills, perhaps, because the best investment in the world is to invest in yourself. The more you learn, the more chances you have.
He's not only always positive-minded, he's also got another secret talent. The wheelchair dance team founded by him and his friend has excellent dance skills after many years of practicing. Other than winning applause in Taiwan, they've also been invited to perform in Southern and Central America countries where they've deeply impressed the audiences.
The wheelchair is my pair of wings because it flied me to many countries to perform. We might not be able to run or jump, but we can still shine bright on the stage through some activities.
The colorful life has brought him confident smiles all the time, and the optimistic spirit has greatly encouraged many disabled friends around him. Dance can't go without music. The 22-year-old Chen Ziming is a Down syndrome patient, but also an ocarina musician. Although it takes more than 1,000 times for him to learn the song, his mother has never given up. His parents spent 3 years to take him to get 19th Street artist lessons, and you might see him performing next time. Ziming plays ocarina with his mother. They have great connections because his mother has always been his teacher since he started to learn ocarina in first grade in elementary school.
In the beginning, he can't express the notes right and his finger is short, so he really doesn't know how to play it. But I just keep on teaching him, probably over 1,000 times per song.
The finger skills that can be acquired by regular people takes Ziming a year to learn, but his mother patiently taught him again and again so that he can have a skill to survive. Both of his parents spent 3 years to take him all around Taiwan, even remote islands like Jinma and Penghu, for him to get his 19th Street artist licenses.
We thought that bringing him out can help him to learn a skill to make his living. Also, he will be happier if he can interact with others outside.
的成长。
会想要表演给大家看吗？
喜欢。
喜不喜欢大家跟你拍拍手？
喜欢。
Now Ziming often gets invitations to perform all over the country. He enjoys performing on the stage and is now full of confidence. Next time, if you see him on the street, don't forget to give him a big applause. Nangang parent-children class visits senior regularly, and the children's adorable performances cheer them up, while Yonghe Tzu volunteers accompany elders in nursing home to talk about their childhood. We'll leave you with these images, and thank you for joining us.